Before I get into today's topic, can I just say I just had a revelation. I think that we have a lot more perfect days than we give ourselves credit for. And I'm saying this because today is just a was just a normal day. Nothing special happened. I did not win the lottery. I did not get a life-changing phone call. Woke up, took my daughter to the coffee shop, did some writing, watched some TV, wrestled with my daughter, went to the gym, did some heavy squats, and then our friends came over and played with the kids in the swimming pool. Then we did an ice plunge, had a meal conversation, and it's now late afternoon, and I'm sitting here in my garage studio, uh, sharing this with you. And the revelation I had right before I prepped for this was today was a perfect day, you know. And I think part of the work is to redefine what perfect looks like. And because I would say, you know, if you were to ask me maybe a year ago what the perfect day was, you know, of course it would have to hit all these requirements, right? There's a video I think of Keanu Reeves, and he talks about the perfect day as waking up, having sex, having an amazing breakfast, going for a motorcycle ride, coming back home, having sex, having another meal, going for a motorcycle ride, uh, and then it's like another meal and motorcycle ride, sex. And I remember watching this video, thinking, yes, I need that in my life. That's a perfect day. I need to hit all those notes. And you know what? You really don't. You know. Anyway, okay. I wanted to start with this. This episode's a little bit abstract. These days, a few thoughts before I connect dots. One, Charles Bukowski didn't tip until he was 50. Did you know that? I had no idea. I knew he was a late bloomer, but I didn't know that he actually didn't get any traction until 50. Two, seeing life through new lenses is always what will pull you out, and new lenses require an examination and an inner journey. I would say a weekly inner journey to see things that you hadn't seen before or the same things but differently, to redefine and move what's truly important to other things, not just what you're used to placing your bets on, right? Like what you place value, that has to change. And this is what creates life, the stretch, because it's what creates new, and without a constant new, life naturally dies. Three, success, quote unquote, is a mirage. Four, if I put my mom in a reel, I get a 2.1 million views. Five, my inner city one-on-one retreats that have become kind of my new obsession. It's the most if you don't know, it's basically be working with someone one-on-one, creating customizing something for this client and using LA as a backdrop. I've been doing more of these, and they've really been kind of lighting me up. And it's the most casual over clinical I've ever worked, and creating a new experience for each new client that is customized also scares the shit out of me. And I think it's part exciting, part scary, part kind of, although I've been doing this for a while, it is still kind of uncharted territory. And all of that makes me feel alive. Six, I don't remember who said it, but maybe many, I don't know, but I'll paraphrase. Don't try to be a good writer, just be an honest one. And I love this. It's something I always think about when writing. Is what I just wrote honest, right? You know what make journal entries so good? It's never the quality of writing. It's that they're so honest because we are writing like no one's going to read this. We are just so honest. And the reason why I love this quote is because, and I don't know if it's a quote, I don't know if it's something I heard from many people or something I put together. Um, Sounds like something I heard from. I think it's like a kind of like patchwork quilt. I put some words together from maybe phrases I've heard from many people and kind of put them together. But what I love about this is it, it applies to life. you know, this idea of don't try to be good, but just try to be honest. I think life is that way where if you try to have a great life or you try to be quote unquote successful, I think that strips life. Just try to have an honest life. Try to live a life that feels honest to you, and there's alignment there, and there's potency, there's truth, and I think that's what will make your life good. Not so much you saying that it's good because of all the external that we've been programmed. I myself also very guilty of. I struggle with this. Um, Defining good as living an honest life instead of like making X amount of dollars or driving a certain car or having accumulated quote unquote success. I mean, I think I've redefined success, or I continually try to. Especially as I get older, it's easier. It would be very hard for me in my 30s to define success as living an honest life, or to define success as how responsible you've been in honing your gifts, what you think are naturally um, something that you are meant to share with the world, right? And not being concerned with the outcome, not being concerned with how far or what kind of dent you make, but more concerned with um, sharpening your gifts, sharing your gifts, almost as like it's a responsibility. Like it's not even about you. It's kind of your call to action in this life. All right, I forgot what number I was on. I think at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, this is number 7. We are not just quote unquote walking each other home, as Ram Dass once said. We are also colliding with each other to evoke growth and gifts. I mean, speaking of gifts, I think that our collision with other people, whether we're talking about friends, I mean, especially friends, but your chosen family, or your biological family, or partners. I think that those collection of collisions, right? The exchange, um, they're meant to sharpen us. They're meant to push us. They're meant to make us accountable. They're meant to get us to look inward, to think different, to have courage, to share our gifts, to evolve and grow. All of this, and we're not meant to do life alone. We're not those kind of creatures, and so it's through community that we're not just walking each other home, but we are also evoking, encouraging, being a catalyst to each other, and um, evoking, encouraging gifts. This is why I think they say it's so important who you surround yourself with, right? Because the people that you surround yourself with is either going to hold you up and encourage you to be the best version of you, or they're going to step on you. They're going to compete with you. They're going to pull you down, right? And here's the other thing. I think a lot of people don't even know they're doing that. It's a kind of a subconscious thing. I think logically they really believe they're helping you or they are your friend. Um, but we all have stories and trauma and stuff that's happening underneath that we're not aware of. And a lot of people, I think, don't know the toxicity they bring to the relationship because they're just kind of on autopilot. Anyway, okay, so now connecting dots. And I'll leave it up to you to see if I actually connected dots or I'm just throwing boomerangs and they're landing in other people's lawns. Nothing may be coming back. I don't know. All right. what I've learned, or what I've always wanted, I'm actually living today because what I've actually wanted, I am actually living, but because I only see life through my own distortions, lacking is what's amplified. And nothing contributes to the distortions more than, of course, cameras, views, um, especially with social media today. So this piece here, and it kind of ties into just how I opened this about redefining what a perfect day looks like. Um, I had this moment when I wrote this morning at the coffee shop that I don't. This sounds kind of very. I have arrived, and I don't mean that in kind of like I'm kicking doors down and I'm successful. That's not what I mean. I have arrived in. Oh, how do I say this? In kind of, it's more of a spiritual way. I have connected to self. I have arrived in that. Um, I'm no longer just chasing. And of course there are moments. Of course I am, but generally speaking, I'm not in that gear. I have arrived also means that I've done a lot of accepting, you know, and that everything that I visualize and dream of may not happen for me, and that's okay. Something different may happen that I didn't even think about. This happens a lot in life, and we don't know till we get there. But then we realize, oh, this is actually better for me, or was meant for me, not this other dream that I had that has been lined with a lot of external shoulds and programming and commercials and so yeah, what I've always wanted, I'm actually living, but because I only see life through my own distortions, lacking is what's amplified. um, I think I'm the closest to really believing, like, oh, I'm living of course I want more, of course I want different, of course I want to keep building, right? But um, you know what, two words, I'm good. I'm good. Does that make sense? You know when people say they're good, and some people don't mean it, but the people that mean it, they're like, I'm good. I'm good. Like there's something about that term, those two words that are so powerful. And I think for the first time in my life, at 51 years old, and with a 4.5-year-old daughter and an amazing partner, and written some books, I'm good. I'm good. Okay, I'm spending more quality time with my mom these days, trying to be more patient, kind, understanding, accepting. I notice when I'm with my mom, the 15-year-old John Kim comes out, who was angry, running, reactive, um, and I've been noticing just by feeling the residue of our relationship dynamic from the past. What a dick I've been to her. I mean, you don't see it because you're in your own skin and your own lenses, but um, I think I've always been kind of mean to my mom, you know, and so anyway, um, trying to spend more quality time with my mom as she gets older. I'm at that age, and I don't know how old you are, but if you are, I'm Gen X, but if you're Gen X or a millennial, elder millennial, as they say, people around us are dying. Family members, parents are getting older, parents are going into retirement homes, and uh, nothing gets you to rack focus faster than death or life. You know what I'm saying? Like someone dying, especially if they're young. Oh man, that puts things into perspective very fast. Or when a baby's born, whether it's your baby or someone around you, and they're just a new life, that also puts things into perspective very fast. And so I'm saying this because if you're roughly my age or even younger, um, just a reminder to be patient with our parents. I only have one. My dad passed already, so one parent. When they were raising you, self-help wasn't even a thing. It's not just about they didn't have tools. I mean, there was no internet. There was no. Um, Most of our parents were locked in survival mode, right? And so I don't want to minimize what happened. A lot of our parents were um, abusive. I mean, just frankly abusive, right? Whether it's emotionally, physically. Of course, most of our parents also didn't mean to be. They had their own problems. They were also reactive. They were also unhappy. They were also in relationships that were draining and confusing. And, you know, they lost themselves, right? So just a reminder that they have a story as well. And they didn't have the tools, the way that they raised you. They did the best with what they had. You've heard that before, but also what they knew. You know, we know so much more today. Yeah. So the way that I work has always been different, and no board will validate that, because the clinical model, I believe, is outdated and broken. Always have. And growth can't be graded. Thank God growth can't be graded. So I just have to keep working in a way that feels honest to me and trust that. So this part is just kind of connecting my story in the way that I've worked, and trusting that um, the way that I work is effective or helping people. Um, it's hard to not doubt it. The thing about therapy, the thing about personal development growth is um, it's so abstract. It's very different than, say, if a client has a goal and she wants to, say, lose 10 pounds or gain muscle, and things are measurable, and you're a fitness trainer or a nutritionist. Then there's science behind it. There's, you do this and you follow this program, and these are the results you'll get most likely. Um, Self-help is not like that. Therapy is not like that. So we don't know when our clients will have revelations, or connect their own dots, and we don't know. Uh, a supervisor, I've said this many times on many episodes, I will continue to say this. A supervisor once said to me, and I've always kept in my back pocket since, you're only going to be one point in someone's life, just be a bright one. And it's interesting. Hours of supervision, don't remember anything. And I'm not saying it's a supervisor, maybe it's me, but don't remember anything except that one sentence. And I really believe that I was supposed to meet this person just to take this one thing home and carry it with me, because it's been so helpful. You're only going to be one point in someone's life. Just be a bright one. And what I love about that is it's not just about me being a therapist. I mean, it's universal. So whether we're talking about, even right now, I'm talking about me wanting to be kinder to my mom, me wanting to possibly be better friends, be a better partner. Like, when we say one point, that one point can be decades, right? Or it could be a moment. It could be uh, an hour. It can be um, the movie I'm thinking about is Breakfast Club, which I reference a lot. Is It could be, detention. That can be one point in someone's life. And I just say that movie because none of those kids, if you know this movie from the '80s, none of those kids would have hung out or met each other, but because of detention, they all kind of met. And blowing kisses to my friends who are leaving. And bye. Love you guys. Oh, I'm working, Logan. I love you. Because this is my office. Yes, it is. No, you're only going to be one point in someone's life. Be a bright one, whatever that looks like for you. I mentioned that because I know that one of the hardest things as a therapist for me is clients, not returning or um, not knowing if I have helped someone. You know, not every client that you have helped is going to say that you have helped them or how much you have helped them. Um, so yeah, so you just trust that some people are going to get a lot out of you, and some people are not, and that's okay, right? That's the point, that you're going to be in that person's life. Also, maybe you're the stepping stone. This happens a lot in relationships where, oh, this is, it's funny but sad. It's funny because I know you're going to be able to relate, but it's also sad because we have all been stepping stones, right? I know that when I went through a divorce, my ex-wife said, what pisses me off, John, is um, I got the beta version of you, and because of all the shit we went through, and now you're on this path, someone's going to get the 2.0 version of you, right? Basically saying that she was the stepping stone, the catalyst to my growth, and now someone else is going to reap the benefits of um, her sacrificing her being what is it, a kamikaze pilot in my life. But I think we all have, haven't we? I feel like I have as well. Okay, so yes, I just have to keep working in a way that feels honest to me and trust that. But trusting yourself is a lifelong process. What helps is being less interested in being good and more interested in the wake your life will create. So don't care how many show to your funeral. Just want to leave something behind, knowing the ripple is always what creates the truth. Knowing the ripple is always what creates truth. And the universe will always meet you halfway. Life is about more than the walk. Thank you for listening. Thank you for following my story. And I hope you're doing well. I do these podcasts because I do them this way because, like when I do these podcasts, I feel like I'm just what would come out of my mouth? What would be the energy and tone if I was just having coffee with you and we were just sitting next to each other? That's always what I imagine when I do these, because there's something really intimate about putting your buds in your ear, or I don't know how you're listening to this. That's how I listen to my podcast. Or if you're in your car, I mean, you're usually alone, right? You're not blasting this on the speakers in the group. It's not like you're listening to this like a song, but it's a intimate, private moment, and so um, it's important to me that I approach it like uh, we're just hanging out, having coffee. So, sincerely, thank you for hanging out and listening. How are you? How have you been? How are you doing? How have you been? What's what's your greatest joy these days? What do you want for yourself? Who do you need to be to give that to yourself? What are the barriers that are getting in the way? Are you dreaming big enough? Most people do not. Most people are very limited in their dreams. Before we end, just a quick story. When I was becoming a therapist, or I remember when I wanted to become a therapist, it was from my own therapist, and my own therapist said to me, uh, "Why do you want to be a therapist?" And I said, if I can't move people by the masses, because I was a screenwriter at the time, then I want to do it one at a time. I want to do what you're doing. And at this point in my life, I was just going through a rebirth, and I was just kind of broke and lost. And I said, if I could have an office and wear my wrinkle free pants like you, I didn't say that, but I said, if I could just make six figures a year and have my clients, I would be so happy. And I shared this story because he said, John, flat out said, John, you're never going to make six figures a year, which is obviously projection. Just because he didn't make six figures a year, I mean, should not be telling his clients that. I also didn't know that I would be writing books and doing all these other things. Um, having a digital Korean bodega as my bio link on my Instagram. But subscriptions, text, retreats. But I also say this because that's actually not what I wanted. That answer came out because I was limiting what I really wanted. I wasn't. I mean, at that time, I had no belief in self, and I was terrified, and so um, that felt safe to me. A cushy job, and this is 20 years ago or plus, so 100 grand then felt like a lot of money. It felt safe, and I was like, that would make me happy. Now, if I was to be honest with myself, I didn't allow myself to dream big. It was a very limited dream. That would have been a very different answer if if I was who I am now and I was to go back to that day, I would have a very different answer. And he would have definitely rolled his eyes more at my answer. Anyway, all that to say, I hope that you are continuing to dream big and know that anything's possible. Thank you for listening. Be well.